fixed. Our next speaker, Ed Lynch, is going to bring out how we can do that. Ed is president of the Latin American Republican Club, and he is a candidate for the next House election that's going to occur. It's not Jack Murtha's in Pennsylvania for that seat. It's the seat vacated by that loudmouth Robert Wexler in Florida that you might remember from cable television. He has left Congress, and Ed is a candidate for that seat. Ed is an entrepreneur, a businessman operating in the telecommunications industry, has made and created many jobs, sold his conglomerate of companies in 2000, an auspicious year to move to Florida. And since then, he has been owner of a federal consulting and general contracting company that works in medical centers. He resides in West Palm Beach with his wife, Jennifer, and 2 children. Let's welcome Ed Lynch.
Thank you, John. And thank you, CPAC. This is so great to see so many conservatives here, like-minded people, and trying to educate yourselves in what's really going on in our country. So I applaud all of you for that. As John mentioned, I'm a candidate for United States Congress, so I do look at things somewhat politically, as immigration is very important, or immigration reform is very important in Florida. Actually, I think we're 5th in the nation as far as some of the problems that we have. With regard to being a businessman, I look at things very practically. And I always look at it in 2 ways. I say, is there a problem? What is the problem? And secondly, if there is, how do we fix it? So is there a problem with illegal immigration? Well, we all here know that there is, but what exactly is it? You know, it's a financial burden to our country first and foremost. In Florida alone, illegal immigration costs us about $3.4 billion a year. By the way, we had a budget shortfall of about $3 billion, so I think fixing illegal immigration would take care of our budget. Now, but are there any other problems? Of course there are. We've got problems with the fact that people can come over to our country undetected. Now, when we're talking about illegal immigrants coming from Mexico, that's one thing. If they're Mexican and they're coming here for an opportunity to work. But when we're talking about people that now have the ability to strap dirty bombs to themselves, walk across our border, walk into a city, and blow themselves up, killing innocent Americans, that is a major, major problem that we have. So we understand that we have problems. We can all agree upon that. Democrats, liberals, conservatives, progressives, Republicans, we have a problem. How do we fix it? Well, number one, we can't fix anything until we stop the influx of illegal immigrants through our porous borders. We have to secure our borders first and foremost. Now, after securing our borders, there's a couple of things that we need to do. What I would suggest, number one, empty our prisons out of every illegal immigrant that has broken our law for the 2nd time, and that we now will be able to give them a $700 ticket out of here, because I'll tell you what, it's a lot cheaper than $30,000 to $50,000 a year in our prison system. Next, as John mentioned before, we need to enforce our laws. We need to, not just on our border, but when employers hire people that are here illegally, they have to pay the penalty. That is it. We need attrition through enforcement. It will work. It's working right now, as a matter of fact. We need to say the tough things. We need to do the tough things that will enable us to be free and safe here. There's nothing wrong. My grandparents came here legally. I'm Hispanic. That's why I'm president of the Latin American Republicans of South Florida. But my grandparents came here legally. And there's nothing wrong with legal immigration. There's everything wrong with illegal immigration. It is killing our schools. It is killing our economy, it is killing health care, and is creeping into every aspect of our daily lives as Americans, and it needs to be controlled. You know, I'm getting sick and tired of, and especially as someone who has Hispanic relatives, one of the most racist things we do in our country is not have English as our national language. I think we need a new saying on our telephone system. It's push 1 for English and push 2 to go home. And I'll tell you real quick why it's racist. You know, there's a certain level that we have with Hispanic Americans that they can only achieve so much. because the rest of our nation and business is done in English. So they can get so high, but they can't. I'd like to give them that are here legally the opportunity to have all of the opportunities that we have, that we've enjoyed to be successful, and they can only do that when English is our national language. Now, one of the bigger problems that we have is how do we get this done? We all know the answers. We all know there's a problem. There's only one way to get this done, and I hear about the opportunity that we have at 40 seats. And I say this all the time when I'm stumping. Let's go after those 40 seats. Why? We own 435 of them, and I want them all back. And until we get them all back, there is nothing that we can do to get Congress to pass laws and actually enact the laws that we have in place. Until we get elected officials in place that are willing to stand up, say the right things, do the right things, none of this, nothing at CPAC matters. Until we elect people in office that are going to represent us. And that's how we win this issue on illegal immigration. Now, I'll tell you, I want to say just a quick campaign thing real quick, because this is what the ability that we will have when we elect people in office that understand that they're here to represent us. You know, I get as a freshman, you're not going to be able to do a lot. My question always is why? My 650,000 people are just as important as Nancy Pelosi's 650,000 people. And when I get to Congress, I will make sure that every other congressperson there understands that this is the truth, and we're all on equal ground because all of our constituencies are on equal ground, and that's how we have true reform in our nation and true immigration reform. Thank you.
Washington is filled with analysts who work at think tanks. But at the Heritage Foundation, Robert Rector is part of his own do tank. Robert has literally changed public policy. In 1996, he was instrumental in the welfare reform, which proved to be one of the most successful public policy changes in American public life. National Review has called him the godfather